This is a past life journey read for the soul that connects to the number that appears here. Came out quickly. We have the number 483. So if you have been seeing this number appear to you, if you've been noticing this number in multiple elements throughout your day, then this read may be for you and connecting to a past life that you lived where you will see similar energies. So the angel message we have with 483 is inner acceptance. Receive self-love. Receive receive self-love. The quickest way to find acceptance in your life is to first gift it to yourself. Your angels notice that you need to work on positive self-talk and self-care. Sit in meditation right now with your hands on your heart chakra. Repeat this mantra a few times until it begins to sink in. I receive self-love. I receive self-love. I receive self-love. All right, now let's see the past life journey that is connecting to this very message. So first we'll be taking a look at a time period. Let's see the time of the past life, the era, possibly a location of where your past life was born and lived. We have pre-colonial era. This pre-colonial era was before 1492 CE, a time when Native American tribes thrived, living in harmony with the land and nurturing rich cultures. I haven't seen this one appear before. So we have pre-colonial era. So we're looking at North America with the Native American tribes here. We have a scene here of maybe a family group within a tribe sitting together around a fire in a very beautiful natural setting. Okay, and now we'll see what your preoccupation was, what maybe tasks or what skills you had. Okay, we have monk, a religious devotee who lives in solitude or within a monastery dedicated to spirituality. So a spiritual leader then for the tribe. Talks about isolation. I wonder about that. Okay, and then we'll take a look at how this life ended, which we know it did, of course. We're a long way off from 1492 CE. So this is also a kind of memento mori that calls to mind what little time we may have. We can never know, but we do know that it is not an indefinite amount of time. execution and old age pop up. Shuffle a little more and then just take the first. Okay. There we have it. Ooh. Execution. It's funny because we had old age and execution, but execution, well, that's the final card that actually came out. You were executed for a crime, belief, or betrayal, often in a public or unjust manner. Okay. So, in terms of themes that may be going on in your life today, that's a strong energy to have appear for a past life. It's not passing away of old age, and so it's an energy, kind of energy that would definitely carry over. The feeling of betrayal and a feeling of an injustice, a great injustice. You might see themes of having even just a very strong sense of moral correctness and justice in your life today. There might be, there might even be energies that have led you to an occupation or activities that seek to correct the injustice that you may already notice in life. We have a theme here of harmony, which is a really beautiful, wonderful element to have as a major element in your life from the past. It's a life focused on achieving inner and outer balance, finding harmony and peace. Right away, that makes me think of the saying that those that are not content with themselves are not content to be at peace with anyone else. So while you may not have been one that would have created disharmony, especially with doing work as a spiritual leader, your piece could have highlighted the chaos maybe that another was creating. And it's going to have to be more than one for an execution. We have anger. So there was a challenge of anger, some element of that also in your life. Living a life in anger and resentment, being frustrated and annoyed, leading to uncontrolled outbursts. It's a complete contrast to the previous theme. So we'll do clarifiers for both of those. Oh, and there we have our three themes. Vendetta. Being caught in a cycle of vengeance, fueling anger and hostility, seeking revenge. So right there is definitely a very clear path that would lead to an end, such as execution. Put the deck back over here. And so I almost feel these can all stay together. We could do maybe clarify. Well, we'll do clarifiers. Yeah. Let's do clarifiers on harmony, just first of all. And where are they at? This Sun and Moon Tarot for harmony. So, you know, with this card coming out first, just in the order, the chronological order, I'm thinking this was really the energy that was all around you in your youth, just like the card that appeared here to give us the time frame of this past life. It's a very harmonious scene. It's beautiful. It's the kind of thing that could draw tourists to come and be a part of a similar experience. So it's very fitting. So we're still gonna do these clarifiers though. I'm gonna take 3 clarifiers on the harmony. Bottom of the deck, we have the 4 of Swords in the reverse. Truce. So it may be that you came into a time where there was a truce, maybe with a rival group. But okay, let's see what the other clarifiers are here. We have the Universe, the 2 of Wands, and the 7 of Pentacles. All of these in the reverse. So with the Universe in this deck, in other decks this would be the World. It would have been a time where something had maybe just missed coming to completion. With this truce being at the bottom of the deck, it almost seems to suggest some type of peace, some type of achievement that was sought after but was not fully achieved. And so maybe instead of having peace, there was only a truce at the time, and that was the harmony. The 2 of Wands that appeared here. At the top of the deck, we have the word dominion, which can be perceived as power over a space. The figure here almost appears to be a warrior with a sword, and he's cleared, it seems to me, he's cleared a field using a line of fire to clear a space. So there was some issue then with having dominion, having control over a space. And we also have the 7 of Pentacles. Normally that would, in the upright, signify some type of investment. But here we also have this word failure. So looking at this also in the reverse, we could take this as having some kind of success as opposed to having a failure. And it was something maybe where a lot of work was put in. Again, I'm seeing this theme of boundaries. The figure here who's drawing these circles. And she's drawn outer circles, and now she's drawing smaller circles closer to herself. So maybe there was a border that was in dispute, possibly a space that had become smaller and smaller, where there was harmony within it, but maybe only for a time. So let's take a look at the change in energies here. And actually, before we do that, let's get more on who you were as a monk. Maybe more on your personality. As a spiritual leader, you would have been someone devoting their time to higher ways of thinking, of living your life, spending your energy. The card here also indicates solitude. So on some level, you kept yourself separate from the others. But overall here, it's spirituality that is your focus. Not really the maybe politics of the time or matters concerning material possessions. So, okay. Let's just get clarifiers on monk. Who are you? What was your personality? Oh, that's too many. Let's see. Put these back in. We have the Fool in the reverse. So you were someone who was cautious. The Fool sets out on his own. Bottom of the deck we have Judgment. Athena. So someone who sets out on their own and for a good reason. To bring life to some aspect of existence. More clarity on the individual here. More clarity on monk. So we have the Tower. Poseidon. The Tower here came out in the reverse. So you were someone who was not reckless, but who might have set out on his own, and maybe to avoid some type of foundational difficulty. At the bottom of the deck here we have Gaia, the world. So here, the mother of all of the gods. So maybe you could have been a female as well, but a matriarchal figure is here in the reverse, which is similar to the appearance of the Universe card there that came up in the reverse, clarifying the harmony. So maybe you were also instrumental in securing some harmony by taking action to avoid a tower, to avoid the collapse of something fundamental. Oh, that one jumped right out. So we have the Seven of Wands in the reverse. Seven of Wands is, with Judgment again at the bottom of the deck. So we had Judgment come in for the Fool in the reverse, and we have Judgment appearing here for the Seven of Wands. So in the actions you took as an individual, at some point, and maybe it was to avoid this tower, but you lowered your defenses. We have, oh sorry, this is the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands. So there may have been, so that's completely different. Six of Wands, and then we have the goddess Nike. Nike, she represented victory. And so in the reverse, you accepted or took some type of loss, some damage maybe to your reputation, to your ego, and maybe that helped you to avoid a tower. It may have been action that was leaving to be on your own. And again, it's coming out with judgment, and judgment is that call to life anew. And so the preservation of life and to bringing circumstances back into existence was a major theme for you in this past life. You may have taken some type of action that was maybe detrimental to you personally, but helped to avoid a tower, maybe contributed to some level of isolation from others. So that is some of who you were. And then let's get to these fairly negative energies. So I would say this definitely led to this, but you know what? We're gonna take a look at the anger and the vendetta separately from the end of life there, and just to kind of get a firmer idea of what the matter concerned. Overall, from the clarifiers that came out on harmony, I'm thinking it's some kind of land dispute with another group, another tribe, possibly. Oh, it's too many. I almost wish I hadn't put them all back in, but let's see what appears. Try this again. We have star, hope, guidance, inspiration, spirituality. Okay. Bottom of the deck, we have cloud in the reverse. There's confusion, uncertainty, and challenges. So I'm thinking then there was clarity, since this is in the reverse. So somehow there was clarity. Something seems certain. Hope, guidance, inspiration, spirituality for star. I don't understand the connection at the moment. Spirituality is connecting. Let's take one more and then clarify star, but for now, clarity on anger and vendetta, please. Oh, that flew out. Ship, travel, journey, progress, adventure. So maybe this was very close to the colonial era. And then bottom of the deck, we have lightning, shock, disruption, awakening. So, wow, okay. That clarifies that already. What else would lead to travel, journey, and adventure? It would be hope, inspiration, some thought or idea to progress and move beyond, which would lead to ship. And we have lightning here, where we're having elements colliding in a very disruptive way. Okay, so I still want to get some more clarifiers there. On how this became, more on how this became a vendetta. We'll use the deck here from the Outlander Oracle. So, clarify with this Outlander Oracle here. Because this oracle is closely related, excuse me, to a story of travel and of shocking events. So maybe that will produce more clarity on this vendetta here. More on vendetta, being caught in a cycle of vengeance, fueling anger, hostility, and seeking revenge. Sorry, bottom of the deck we have caregiver, and here we have traitor. So in some way, someone was a traitor, appearing to be loyal to a cause for their own personal benefit, while acting for the benefit of another side. Bottom of the deck we have caregiver, which is the image of the heroine of the story. So someone else then was acting for the care of those of their household, of their home, and then there was a traitor, all involved here in this vendetta that leads to an execution. Because you were executed for a crime, belief, or there was some type of betrayal. And so that very clearly links the vendetta to the execution. I want to see though more about who the caregiver is and who is this traitor. So let's get clarifiers on the caregiver. which I want to say is you. I want to say that is the monk here, which I would think just seems the most likely, but we never know. So let's just get a little more information on caregiver. So we have the Page of Swords in the upright. Someone who was curious, someone watchful, ready to take action. You can see she has her sword in hand, but she's holding off in taking any action. She's at a moment of pause there. We have the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. So there was something that was not offered, something that was held back. And then we have the Four of Cups, a disappointment. The disappointment of having a loss and not wanting to engage further. And that's the caregiver. Okay. Which is almost like the monk, where the Four of Cups pulls away from relationship. The Four of Cups withdraws from engagement with others. But then this is in the reverse, so there was some reaching out here. There was some level of trying to gain data, trying to find something out, to re-engage. Something was missing, and this caregiver was attempting to re-engage. And so in this, I would say this is your part in the story here. And let's get some more on who's this traitor. Oh, and bottom of the deck. Oh, I spun this around. It may be the Two of Cups in the reverse, or it may be in the upright. I think it's interesting here too that we have two figures very different from each other, but connecting, finding harmony. So again, this theme of people who are separate from one another coming together in harmony, as it was early on in the story. Queen of Pentacles, that's like caregiver. And the Knight of Pentacles, someone who is earnest and sincere in the actions that they take. Again, my fault. I'm not sure if I had spun this deck around, whether or not this is in the upright or the reverse. But we're going to use the same deck here for Traitor and see who this was. Who is this traitor here that leads to the vendetta and execution? Who is this traitor? Who is the traitor here? someone who is remorseful. We have the Seven of Swords appearing in the reverse. So whoever this traitor was, they felt regret on what they did. And then we have the Four of Swords, King of Cups in the reverse, bottom of the deck. So someone who manipulates emotions. King of Cups is one who understands how to navigate emotions very skillfully. This is in the reverse, so this is being done for selfish means, as a trader would, maybe for options and what appeared to be something desirable for their gain, for their personal gain, because we have the Nine of Pentacles there. Okay, so for trader, clarifying that, oh, not to mention we have a wolf, which, interesting that the wolf is the King of Cups in this deck. A wolf in wolf clothing. But a wolf normally is in a pack, in a small group, that they're meant to work together for the collective success and survival of their pack. In the reverse, well, that's a traitor, right? And then we have the Seven of Swords in the reverse. The way that this figure is taking this rope up to the sky here with swords in a basket almost brings to mind the ship that appeared here as well. It's the kind of rope ladder that one might take up into a ship. It's in the reverse, so this trader felt great remorse for, or some level of remorse for what they did. Led to some need for recovery with the Four of Swords. Four of Swords comes after the Three of Swords, where there's a betrayal. So that's more on the traitor. Wow. It's not the most fun kind of reading. For a past life, it seems this individual here, our monk, made choices for probably the betterment of others, right? The monk here always had twice had the Judgment in the bottom of the deck, on the Fool, and on the Six of Wands in the reverse. So not someone who was at all reckless, someone who had in mind bringing to life, bringing back probably the harmony that had been experienced prior, to even their own detriment, to try to avoid difficulties. Oh, bottom of the deck here too, for that Six of Wands, you have the Empress and the Four of Wands. So it really seems like in a past life you were a wonderful individual that sought out spirituality and to bring life to others, and yet there was this clash and a terrible turn of betrayal. So, I mean, if you're seeing some type of similar theme, maybe you're noticing in your life of trying to give your best, trying to seek spirituality, attempting to think about others, and it feels like maybe you're heading to some betrayal constantly. Going back to the angel number that appeared just to link to this read of receiving self-love. Maybe that's something that you might need to think about making more of a focus for yourself. And in terms of trust and who to trust, wow. Let's do an oracle card from the spiritual meaning of birds for some advice here. Because there seems overall to be a theme of giving and pulling back from boundaries, trying to have a truce with others. So far the advice is to take care of yourself. We have magpie. So for these oracle cards, I like to say also this can be helpful towards connecting with this read and maybe possibly validation with it. So if you start to see magpies, or you have been already seeing this bird, then that's more confirmation for you that this advice is for you to go along with this past life journey and the message that is coming through for you. So we have magpie, hoarding, distraction, balance. Balance is the biggest piece of advice there. Not to go too far with self-love as well, and not to be distracted by all the other things that may be going on with others, possibly characters that may be appearing in your life, but search for balance. And I hope this read has been helpful to bring some kind of clarity to situations that you're dealing with in your current soul journey, and that you do find balance, inner acceptance to receive self-love. Okay, and all the best to you. Please comment if this read resonates with you. That would be helpful. That would be helpful for me as well. Any suggestions also for future reads? Okay, thanks.